at your house.
Yeah.
So there again, there's a distinction between high and low.
Just even off the meal, they separate themselves through the class of in religion, just based on food.
Just based on food, on one dish. And so, so when you sit down to a meal in the Spanish world, you have to think about, this is telling them who I am, or telling them who I am not. They would go so far as to make sure that you were cooking on Saturday, because under Jewish law, you can't cook on the Sabbath. So they would look to see if smoke was coming out of your chimney on Saturday. If it's not, why not? Why aren't you cooking? And then you say, oh, well, I made something yesterday and it's still hot.
That ain't gonna go.
That's not good enough. They could actually knock on your door and poke their head into your kitchen and see you don't have something cooking, or you've got leftovers that are just keeping warm. You're hiding the fact that you're Jewish.
I couldn't believe my Jewish brothers and sisters went through such
And
hardships
so,
like that,
and the same thing with Muslims. You had to
especially our
prove,
Muslim brothers and sisters.
you had to prove that you weren't Muslim or Jewish, and in Spanish world, it generally went back at least 6 generations. You had to prove that there was nothing in there in those 6 generations.
Wow.
And that's tough, because Spain had been ruled by the Muslims for 700 years.
Yes,
How
correct.
do you keep them out of your family? It's very hard.
Yeah.
And that's when neuroses start.
Yes.
When you start having to play with your mind. I heard a funny story of the Jefferson family was having guests for dinner, and one of the guests was from England. And during the dinner, he said, "Mr. Jefferson, I just noticed the most amazing thing." And they said, "What?" And he goes, "Have you noticed most of the people who work here look like you? Some of them even have red curly hair."
It looked just like them.
And there was a silence at the table because,
Even the cooks.
right?
Yeah.
That was, as time goes on, we develop this courtesy of what is spoken and what is not spoken. So what we won't say, we can find out over dinner.
And one of the things that I read that was fascinating to me is that Sally Hemings, and of course it's almost indisputable that Jefferson had an affair with her, she was the half-sister of his wife. She was the spitting image of his deceased wife. So when people say, oh, it was so terrible that he fell in love with her, not to him, he's looking at the mirror image of slightly different skin tone of his beloved wife.
Yeah.
So it makes it that much more
And
complicated.
that they shared the same dad. Whoa. Right? See, that was part of the puzzle. I'm usually not in the Peyton Place part of it. But I said, wait, now, if Mrs. Washington's slave is Sally Hemings, and they've been, so